Slow Burn by Julian Bishop. Long life bulbs take an age to warm, their filaments flickering like streetlights at the turn of day. Under the pale sodium glow of January, crops of snowdrops shiver into growth, their moth-wing petals only unfurling in cool February sun. The brighter light ignites aconites, warms a crocus, tickles saffron stamens into flames, sets a torch to celandines. March adds a glowing crown to towering imperials, radiance to the wide-eyed narcissi. White tulips save their match-tip flames for April. A low gas glow of bluebells rises from leafy debris in May. Until spring is as distant as winter. If we wait long enough, tropical planners will rip wildfire through the borders.
Kronos by Laila Sumpton. My father said Saturn was an old castle wall, half at the point of falling, half at the point of growing. The moment you linger between mallet or trowel and the unbuilt turret shivers in your mind, Father Time paces, humming a tune half known, as you tease out the threads from a hem unfurling, as the evening dances you round, and here's the one thing that never changes. The prayer at the sky right before dusking, for you to be swallowed and swathed in that exact and changing shade, because there are stars just waiting. The Saddest Birds a Season Find to Sing by Kelly Davis. This spring, we heard them all. Not just strident gulls, but blackbirds, meadow pipits, larks, sparrows, starlings, cuckoos, doves. As traffic faded, birds grabbed the microphone, and they were full of the joys. They laughed and shouted, strutting like Jagger. Behind our locked doors, we bit our nails, washed our hands, watched news reports, waiting for our feathers to grow.
12-point plan. Pippa Gladhill. 1. First of all, don't look back. 2. Look out the window instead. Holy crap. It's now summer. How did that happen? Well, duh. Summer comes along after spring. It happens each year, regardless. And yes, see, plums are falling from the plum tree. They could be made into jam. Good plan. Allow your enthusiasm room. Even though you don't like jam. When it's done, line up the 7 jars on the shelf. Then rearrange them into descending size order. Largest to the left, smallest to the right. Because why not? Also, make plum crumble. Freeze it into easy to use single portions. 3. Advise the cat it's not mealtime yet. Then maybe look around for what's been forgotten. Clock the Lonely Planet guide to Italy on the kitchen table, where it's been for many months. It's a library book. Check online when it was due back. Whoa, the overdue fine will be massive and growing bigger by the minute. Ponder a moment. Feel pretty sure libraries declared an overdue book amnesty. At this point, do nothing for a while. Instead, stroke the cat, pick up the book, let it fall open onto page 188 and read that Cremona is a small town in the middle of the Po Plain, renowned for its violins. Really? Note this interesting fact, useful for the next pub quiz. 4. But, pea-brain, remember you don't do pub quizzes now. Allow your mind to drift, if you want. Because you have sat down with the Lonely Planet, you can read more about Italy. Think about the cypress trees, that heat, the bars, the streets, all the people continuing in all their various Italian lives right now, even though you're not there to see it all, but sat here in the kitchen. Five. It's still not mealtime, but note the cat still demands food. All right, keep your fur on, cat. Decide it's okay to disrupt the routine, because when it comes to it, routine doesn't solve anything. Fetch a pack from the box of Sheba Select Collection slices in gravy. Jesus, when did she get so Epicurean? And feed her. A fed cat is an happy cat. Except she continues to prowl around, puzzled by the way things are. And when she vomits up all her dinner, like she does, just because, to prove a point or something, remember it's always your turn from now on to clean up after her. You can't pretend you haven't seen it happen like you used to, because that's not going to work. And the cat sure as hell isn't going to do it, so go and fetch the cleaning stuff and get on with it. 6. When you've done that, you can continue to ignore the juggling balls on top of the fridge. No one seriously cares if you can do the 5-ball cascade or not. 7. Yeah, okay. Now go outside for your permitted exercise.
Hi trees, hi outdoor air, how you doing? Sit on a bench and watch the same old guy who goes by every day to see what it's like to be his particular version of old. He has 2 sticks and seats himself down slowly on a nearby bench. Everybody else going by wears headphones or jogs along intent, apart from this ancient geezer. He looks around expectant like it's a big event, this time outdoors for him. He's dressed up for the occasion, with his jacket, his tie and his old brown shoes polished to a glow. Polished enough that when you see him, remember not to allow your heart to fracture one small bit. What does it matter that this guy polishes his shoes for this moment of his day when he goes out? But no one speaks to him, of course, because random conversations don't happen at the moment. And, was it mentioned, everyone is too damn busy doing their own thing. 8. You can give him a small wave of your hand here. Note how he has to lever himself up off the bench with his sticks to head off home in his especially clean and polished shoes. Maybe he too has a cat back home, or a dog. or a goldfish, or a houseplant even, waiting for him. You can hope this, maybe. Anyway, he's fine. Maybe it's you that misses someone knowing how you're doing.
Nine. Back home. You can search around for one of those luggage labels you bought when you were both planning that Italian holiday. The beige labels with that reinforced bit round the hole and the white string attached to it. You can write a message on this label and then why not carefully tie it around a jar of plum jam. The biggest jar on the left-hand side of the line of jars. Stroke the cat some more. 10. When it's the right time, you may head outside for the usual exercise.
Go on, put the jar of plum jam on that bench. Sit and watch and wait. You can hope the old guy will come pottering along at his usual sort of time and sit down in his usual sort of way. You can hope he'll see the jar of jam and read the label that says, "This is for you." He probably won't know that you wanted to write something else. Now you wanted really to write a memo to yourself. It will pass. It will change. Do not look back. Look forward. 11. Now return home.
12. Greet the cat. Reminder, it's not mealtime yet. Pick up the juggling balls from the top of the fridge. Because memory, focus, movement, go! Sketchbook, Jane McLaughlin. He says it is like Elysium, whatever that might be. City people come down in their carriages and go home with a bunch of bluebells or a basket of blackberries and think they have been in the country. But that is not the way he is. He walks here. He says he has been walking here ever since he was a little boy and came here with his father, through the lanes and the streams, looking for nuts and mushrooms and pretty stones, and fishing tadpoles out of the brook. And always he carries his book and his pens, stopping often to look and to draw. So when he comes to our gate, I give him not just a cup of water, but a handful of whatever is good at the time, a few sweet pea pods or raspberries. His delight is like a child. Well, he is little more than a child. 19, I think he told me. Last summer, when he passed, Father was sitting in the orchard reading to Sarah and Lily. He drew Father with his white beard, like a prophet, the girls kneeling either side of him. There was a house behind them, but it did not look like our cottage. He's not strong, looks thin and pale for a young man of his years, and he suffers with his lungs. Mother died when he was 13, he tells me. Poor little man. But he strides along when he comes here, gazing up and around all the time as he goes. And I would say he looks happy. I think I know what kind of house he lives in. I have passed them when I've been up to the market with John in the cart. tall, sooty houses with fireplaces in every room. I do not go very often. Too much noise and dirt, bad smells and bad air, and the cobblestones shake my bones. So he walks down from the city, across the river, through Newington Butts, where they grow grapes in glass houses, and peaches for rich tables, and Walworth, and at last into our pretty streams and hills. In the market gardens and cornfields, the air is good. I fear for him in the winter, but he still comes, wearing a big greatcoat with heavy capes and still carrying his book and pens, still drawing. In summer, he draws the horse-chestnut trees that grow like white and pink castles. Sometimes he shows his book to us. I do not know what to make of some of the drawings. They look scratchy and wild. I do not recognise the people or the places, or understand some of the ugly beasts and strange images. But I admire the ones of trees. He has studied the shape and character of each of them, as if he was drawing portraits of people. There are trees you can see if you walk around here, trees that I know, and some of the pages in his book have pretty sketches of leaves and branches. There are such fine trees in this place. I want to know them, how they live and change through the seasons. Now it is June, and we pick late into the evening, as long as the light lasts. Raspberries, strawberries, currants packed in baskets and boxes, fine lettuces and radishes, as much as we can gather, because this is the time of year when we can make money to save for the winter, when there'll be little more than cabbages and leeks. Past here, he's off again, sometimes back into the city, sometimes up through Peckham to Greenwich and the river. I tell him I think it must be very muddy and bare up there, but there are palaces along the banks and a great shining river and tall ships going into the quays at Deptford. I see it in my mind's eye. Mostly he comes on his own, but there is another man who comes along too, always drawing as well, and talking 20 to the dozen. And then there was an older man with a big head and staring blue eyes, who said he has seen angels in the trees. Well, I have seen angels too. I saw them after little Charlie died of the scarlet fever 2 winters ago. Today, I see him coming along the lane in his brown hat and light coat. It is warm and bright, and the trees are full of their summer leaves. He asks after Father and John and the children. I tell him they are out in the fruit bushes. I'm moving to Kent very soon. The air will be better for my lungs. There are beautiful hills and woods there. But Dulwich will always be my first inspiration, where my eye first learnt to read the landscape and the way the day changes it from twilight to twilight. He takes a page from his book. It is the drawing of Father reading to the girls that he made last year. I thank him kindly. I can't read the writing on it. I will put it away to give to Sarah when she is older. Father never taught me to read, but I will make sure he teaches Sarah and Lily. I give him a bunch of radishes, red, yellow, white, purple, washed with fresh water from the pump. Again his face shows delight. Rainbow, sunset, he says, and puts them in his pocket. He walks away from the cottage. I watch him pass in and out of the light under the horse chestnut trees. Before he reaches the end of the lane, he stops and takes out his sketchbook. He is drawing a tree.
This is a song based on a poem by Robert Southwell written in the 1500s. I've called the song Dancing with the Green Man. We sail on the seas of fortune, all through the roughest storm. I sail on those seas of fortune to see with eyes reborn. And the lump tree will grow again, plants renew both food and flower, and the sun she will shine once again, and the dry earth suffer shower, and the tides they will come and go, always breaking on the shore. Yes, the tides they will come and go, as they did in times before. And the lump tree will grow again, plants renew both fruit and flower, and the sun she will shine once again, and the dry earth suffer shower, and the dry earth suffer shower. And the leaves, they will come once again, at each and every spring. Yes, the leaves, they will come once again, and the birds will once more sing. And the lump tree will grow again, plants renew both food and flower, and the sun, she will shine once again, and the dry earth suffer shower, and the dry earth suffer shower.